reality is that we struggle so much with our fears and anxieties when God has done everything He can to assure us that everything is going to be okay. I'm not worried. God has already told us what the end of the story looks like. There is no pain or misery or evil in this world that can overcome the goodness and mercy of our God. God is making all things new, even us. Part of being a Christian is accepting the reality that we are people who are born again. Now that doesn't mean what you think it means. It's not like we've gone down to the river and dunked you in the water and you come out and have a seizure. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that the reality is that every day when we wake up, we are given the opportunity to more fully become something new. Yes, we have to have that initial moment when we accept the love of Christ, where we accept baptism, where we step into a life of faith, and that is a huge and holy moment. But there is a process beyond that where God's not done with us just at our salvation, that we are constantly being remade in the image of God, that every day, as long as we walk faithfully, God works on us and perfects us and makes us more and more of who God needs us to be in the world. And when we do it well, the world changes around us. We don't become corrupted by the world, but the world, in Jesus' own words, like yeast in flour, we corrupt the world with the goodness of God. We take away the power of evil. We take away the powers that would hold back the goodness of God, and instead we are a part of what God needs us to be doing. We are changing lives and helping people to experience hope that can never be taken away from them. Hope that exists for eternity. Hope of a new heaven and a new earth, a place where all provision is made for us. And so when people ask me, David, where is your hope? I tell them my hope is in the Lord. And I hope Lord likes Auburn football. He doesn't, apparently, but I can hope. But the reality is that we struggle so much with our fears and anxieties when God has done everything He can to assure us that everything is going to be okay. Like I tell my kids when they're scared of the dark, it's all right. I'm here. God says the same thing to each and every one of us, because the reality is when you get older, you're just putting on a face, pretending like you've got everything under control, when reality is that we're all still children, scared of the dark, not knowing what that weird sound in the night was, and God is there looking at us going, it's gonna be all right. I'm with you. God is telling us not only is He going to be with us in this life, but He's going to be with us for eternity, that we have hope beyond this moment. And I think that we should act like it. I think that we should live our lives not in constant fear, but instead in constant hope. If you fear anything, you fear the Lord, and fearing the Lord means that you will walk in His paths of righteousness and that you will share the good news. So how do you share your purity with Christ in the world? How do you share your relationship with Christ with other people? What does it look like? Well, I can tell you it doesn't look like holding up picket signs in the yard telling them they're bad. No one I've ever met in my entire life who's been told constantly they're bad has had a significant change in their life. Every person that I've ever seen that to doubled down on whatever they were doing. They said, you know what? Watch this. Instead, what it looks like is reaching that hand out and saying, can I pray with you? I've prayed with atheists. They normally, when I say, can I pray for you? They'll look at me and go, you can. I don't think it's going to do anything, but you can. And I pray for them anyway. I think it does something. I can tell you I've seen people who are completely faithless come to faith because of the actions of faithful people, not rebuking them and telling them they're terrible, but instead holding their hands and saying, we're going to walk faithfully with you, and we're going to pray for you, and we're going to love you even when you don't want it. And we're going to think you're good because God told us you were. We're going to love you through this moment. And we're going to do so because our God has asked us to. Being the witness in the world changes lives. accepting people in love, even if we don't accept everything they do, is so important for the salvation of the world. Because the reality is that most people who walk through the doors of any church are still infants in their faith. Spiritual maturity is not having a Bible memorized in such a way that you can beat others down with it. It's instead having the Bible known to you and the Spirit of God known to you in such a way that you can lift others up. I remember vividly being told as a child, the only time you look down on somebody is when you're helping them up to your level. And you're not looking down on them with condemnation, you're just helping them up. We have to be that hope in the world. The message of Easter, the message of this holy season is that we're called to not only to be saved, but we're saved for a purpose. We have been given salvation so that we might be God's ambassadors to the world, that we might be Christ in the world. Every single one of us has that call. It ain't just me, praise be to God, because we would be in trouble. It's all of us. We're all called to carry God's light in this place with us. We're all called to claim the hope we have in the resurrection. We're all called to understand and know that the story has already been written. God wins in the end. That's why I always hesitate when someone says, will you do a study on Revelation with me? What they want me to do is a study that's going to terrify everybody. Revelation doesn't scare me. Revelation is a love letter to the church telling us that God is in control. And that no matter what happens on this earth, no matter what chaos, evil presents itself as, no matter how much hardship and struggle, God is going to be here walking with us. And at the end of the day, God is going to make it all new. I get a lot of hope from that. How about you? And so today, my challenge for each of us is to be people who have hope. And when we leave this place of worship, to carry that hope out in the world and to be the children of God, Christ in the world, the hands and feet of Jesus, seeking to serve and to love the way Jesus served and loved, and to have faith the way Jesus had faith, and to trust that God is with us, guiding us, strengthening us, making us new. Because one day we're going to that place where there will be no more tears. There will be no more death, no more mourning, no more sadness, no more pain. God will provide for us everything we need. But until that beautiful day, let's share the good news with the world. Let's pray.